Wikicast
Podcast.
Hi, and welcome to Wikicast episode number 7. Lucky number 7. Slevin. It's a good film. You were raving about that one, weren't you?
Yeah, it's a good film.
Good.
It's unrelated to this week's
I thought
topic,
I'd throw in
but
an immediate tangent just to get us on the right foot, because this episode has been suggested to us by a listener called Vicky, and she suggested that we should do one about dinosaurs, which I thought brilliant. That was a brilliant, genius idea. Dinosaurs are wicked cool. I remember loving them when I was a kid.
I loved them when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Don't know anything about them, though.
Really? You must have at some point.
I think mainly Jurassic Park.
yeah, that's
I
the
always liked
lasting.
that one that had a big club at the end of its tail.
What?
Covered in...
Stegosaurus?
No, yeah, that
Because
had
that did have
spikes.
that. Oh yeah, okay.
There was another one that was a bit lower than that, like a bit not as tall. Similar looking, but covered in like armour and had a massive club.
Is that your favorite dinosaur?
Yeah, I guess so.
It's a tough one to pick. You know, do you go with the ferocious ones? Like Velociraptors, I think are pretty cool, but that's because Jurassic Park made them seem really cool.
Yeah. And they're also terrifying in anything that's terrifying. It's quite
Yeah.
cool.
But then I was fascinated by the Stegosaurus. It's got these weird, funky kind of hexagonal plates on its back.
Yeah. T-Rex never did it for me.
No,
With his
too
tiny,
big.
tiny little arms.
That
just made
the proportions
him
are all
really
wrong.
lame.
But we'll learn hopefully a couple things about them. So basically, I went on to Wikipedia as I normally do to research the topic, and it is so fucking boring. The article, it would put you off dinosaurs in the blink of an eye. Like you start out, you're like, dinosaurs, cool, all right, cool, and then it's all classification. It's all like archaeology, and it's biological terms, and it's really, really shit. I was halfway through, and I was like, what is
I
this?
don't understand any of this.
It's complete. It's full of jargon and sauropods and things. So I managed to get through it, and I picked out the interesting little tidbits here and there. But then I also went elsewhere in the web, just literally Googled
Dinosaurs.
interesting facts about dinosaurs, and I found that to be a much more useful source. But I did find some interesting facts. The dinosaur, the term actually only refers to the land-dwelling forms of these things. So
I kind of assumed that, but yeah.
well, because I was told that crocodiles were dinosaurs.
But they go on land.
Well, I suppose they do, but apparently they don't refer to crocodiles, like
Okay.
exclusively land-dwelling things. Also, pterodactyls aren't dinosaurs. See, that threw me, right?
No. Not having that. Definitely dinosaurs.
Well, that's what I thought, you know? But no, they're not dinosaurs. I mean, they were around in that period, but like in terms of the boring quote-unquote classification, the term dinosaurs is only used in science to refer to the land-dwelling versions of these Jurassic period animals.
So it's just Jurassic as well.
No, there were like
Not
3
sure.
different periods.
Okay.
There's
There were a lot
Tertiary-
of periods when you
Tertiary
get that far back.
Jurassic.
Yeah.
Yeah. What my favorite thing in my research was I found a Wikipedia page which was just a list
Of dinosaurs.
of dinosaur names, and there are 1,351 dinosaur names in this list.
How many?
1,351.
Do you see that sounds like a lot, but then when you think about it, dinosaurs were around for a long time.
Yeah, about 160 million years.
Assuming that like biodiversity was about the same as it is now.
Yeah.
We have not discovered millions of dinosaurs.
But the amazing thing about this is we can only find out about dinosaurs from fossils. So we can only find out about a really small number of them.
So we know about all the ones that lived in swamps.
Yeah, all the ones that died in like these mud encased scenarios. So 1,351 is not that many.
No, I know.
That means there's a much bigger picture.
I mean, it's a lot to read. I imagine that took you a while.
I did read through the list. I tried to pick out ones I liked, names that I liked. So there was a dinosaur that probably needed to calm down a bit called the Agrosaurus.
Right.
You're gonna
Is this just
gonna really enjoy this.
Is this just going to be puns?
Andy Zaltzman would enjoy this.
He would enjoy this.
There was one who presumably never ran out of bullets called the Amosaurus.
Right.
There was one called the Antarctosaurus, which was not actually from Antarctica. I don't know why they called it that, but very misleading. But there is an Argentinosaurus who is from Argentina, and apparently he was 37 meters long, which is pretty fucking long.
That's pretty long.
That's-
I can't even, how
That's extraordinarily long. I mean,
Put it in double-decker buses, because that's their classic
Yeah, it is.
way to explain the size of an
it's
animal.
I think it's about 4 double-decker buses.
That's quite a lot of buses.
It's pretty huge. It's one of those big lumbering sauropod things, I imagine.
All right.
I might even got the word wrong. It might not be sauropod, but it sounded
I
right.
think it's sauropod.
Okay.
Although I think I called one a diplodocus the other day, and someone looked at me like I was insane.
A diplodocus is a dinosaur.
Diplodocus. Yeah, that's easy.
You said docus.
Docus. I thought it was diplodocus.
Yeah, bloody Brits. There's a dinosaur called an Auroroceratops, and there's one called a Borealosaurus, which, if they had children, it would be the Aurora Borealis Ceratopsosaurus. I liked that. I was quite pleased with that. There was one that sounded like a period.
So let's cut straight to which was the biggest.
No, I'm not
Surely
done
we've
with
got-
the names. We're going through the names first.
Right.
There is one who I can only imagine was a rather flamboyant dinosaur called a Camposaurus. There was the one that was probably the first one to be hit by the potential asteroid was the Craterosaurus.
You're killing me now. You know?
It's brilliant. There was one genuinely called a Drinker. There's a dinosaur whose dinosaur name is Drinker. Clearly my favorite dinosaur.
Drinkosaurus.
No, just Drinker. Just Drinker. Brilliant.
Wait, all right.
There was one who presumably hated the water called a Dryosaurus.
Right.
Tell me when you want to kill yourself.
No.
There's a dinosaur called the Erectopus.
No,
which doesn't need
I'm back on board.
anything.
I'm back on board for the dinosaur names.
That needs-
Erectopus.
That needs no comment.
I'm imagining an octopus that gets like full like goes like a starfish if it gets
In its
scared.
mating season. There's this. I just thought this was quite a cool name. There's one called a Gigantosaurus.
So I think we found the biggest one then.
Presumably that was pretty.
That,
big.
that must be the biggest
There was
dinosaur.
a Gigantoraptor as well, which must be pretty fearsome.
Probably the biggest raptor.
There was one that must have been pretty tall, called a Giraffatitan.
Right.
There's one that probably caused a lot of trouble.
Was there any sort of system for naming them?
I don't.
Or was
I
it
don't
just
know.
a case of
I-
it's pretty big,
I
gigantic? What if
So-
we find a bigger one? We
there are
probably
lots-
won't.
There are lots of very kind of is paleontology the right term?
I think so.
I think so. There's one. There are
Paleontologists?
the ones that are clearly kind of based on the kind of Greek derivatives
Yeah.
of that kind of stuff. But then there's some that are kind of crazy. Like there was one that probably caused a lot of trouble in Japan called the Godzillasaurus. Yeah, there's genuinely a Godzillasaurus. Why there aren't massive creature features about a Godzillasaurus? I
Godzillasaurus.
don't know. There was a dinosaur that was probably nomadic by nature called a Gyposaurus. There was a dinosaur who famously campaigned against heterosexuality called a Heterodontosaurus.
All right.
I'm not finished.
How far
I'm not
through
finished. There
Dinosaur
was-
names are we?
His nemesis was obviously the Heterosaurus.
Right.
The last one to the dinner table was, of course, the Hungerosaurus.
So I think we should just stick with Stegosaurus, Bronchiosaurus,
No.
Tyrannosaurus,
No,
and
wait.
Velociraptor.
There's more.
I think that's all of the
There's
dinosaurs
more.
you need to know.
There was a dinosaur that famously had the body of a man and the head of a bull called the Minotaurosaurus. These are all genuine dinosaur names. I'm not making this up. There was one who was really great in the bedroom called the Mojoceratops. Obviously, there was also a dinosaur who was a great guitarist by the name of Santana Raptor. There's a dinosaur.
that was the worst one so far.
There's a dinosaur who believed fervently in the idea of fate called the Serendipus Ceratops. There was one who couldn't live without music called a Stereosaurus.
That's a stretch, really.
They're all stretches, let's be fair. There was one who loved Australian slang words called the...
Right, no, I don't want to know this one. Come on,
It's called the...
behave.
It's called the Struthiosaurus.
Oh,
Yeah. There was one who was allergic to
Brilliant.
kryptonite called the Supersaurus. And there
how much time did you spend in your research thinking of puns?
not much. Honestly, these are just,
Right.
instant little...
Okay.
The last one.
I think this is why you didn't. You had to use Google. Because
Yeah.
you spend all of your time on Wikipedia.
Just kidding. That's a brilliant name. Final one. The final one you'd be
Okay.
delighted to hear. There was one who had an insatiable curiosity, and it was called the Wananosaurus. A one-anosaurus
He could be our the official dinosaur
of the
podcast.
Wikipedia.